The show is about to start. Thank you for your cooperation. Enjoy the show, and please come back and visit us again.
All right, everybody, welcome to the 9 Years Podcast. Nick Draper here, joined by Stuart Deakins, as always. Thank you very much for listening to the show this week, however you're doing so. 9yrspodcast.org, YouTube or iTunes. If you are on YouTube or iTunes, just give us a subscribe. That always helps us out. A lot to talk about this week, as with every week. We're mainly going to focus on the defeat to Scunthorpe, because having won at Gillingham the previous Saturday and everything being all right with the world, the defeat to Scunthorpe, their first win under their new manager Stuart McCall, has posed more questions than previously we thought they could possibly be. I don't know if that sentence makes sense. We shall speak about it very shortly. Do not worry, all the other usual stuff will be here this week as well. Neil Cockler's Bears, a little chat about Don's Trust, to look ahead to the Accrington Stanley game. But Stu, let's get into it. I want to start with this Scunthorpe review by looking at Neal Ardley's post-match interview, which was straightforward, I think is a nice way of putting it. A couple of quotes we're going to pull from it, but the main one I think a lot of people have picked up on is this quote in which he says that the same players are making the same mistakes. Who's he talking about?
Well, yeah, he was very angry, wasn't he? And he did say that in his I'm angry, disappointed and frustrated. So there's quite a lot of things he's not happy about after Saturday. Yeah, when you look back, he's obviously made quite a few changes, hasn't he? So we were sort of looking back. The only people that I can see who have been consistently, there's more than what you think. But you know, you got Tom King in goal, you got Deji. You can't believe he's talking about Deji at all. You got Perrington at left back. You got the two in the middle. I know Sawes has been injured for a little bit, but Sawes and Trotter have been a fixture in that midfield. And then you got Kwesi Appiah up front and Andy Bartram. So they're your ones that he could be talking about. If I was gonna whittle them down a little, but I would probably be going. You'd definitely be talking about Tom King, and I also think it could be Andy Bartram and Kwesi Appiah. That'd be my three if I was gonna whittle it down.
So, what mistakes are they making? Let's start with Andy Bartram, actually.
Well, I suppose it's what you want from Andy Bartram is chances. So Saturday, lots of ball into him, and we were sitting down.
I have to interrupt you there. Can I just stop that? He had lots of the ball. Yeah,
it's one of my. I know you're going to pull me out for listening to football commentators because that's what I say. Lots of ball, don't they?
No,
but you're right. There's only one football.
It's not a football phrase. It's come from rugby, and I hate rugby. It's rubbish.
Egg chasers.
So anyway, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, so he had the ball a lot of times. We'll get that right. But as I said, you know, we were sitting down on the Paul Schrank stand, but closest to the John Green end, and I said to you, you know, he sometimes gets into really good positions, but doesn't get his head up or doesn't create chances. So doesn't create clear-cut chances. And really, if you're going to get the ball to him that many times, you really need him to. Hasn't scored this year, if I'm being remember. I can't remember.
Yeah, barely anyone has, to be fair.
Yeah, and off the top of my head, I can't remember him creating, having an assist either. I might be wrong, but I can't remember off the top of my head him creating an assist, or if he has.
The only one I can think is if you give him the little flick, I think, Fleetwood away, he might have got the head on it before Pickett scored.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get his way out. I think he was trying to get out of the way of it, more than likely. And again, this is not a criticism of Andy Bartram. It's just going, who is Neal Ardley singling out. We'll probably find out more as we get to the selection for Accrington, possibly. But yeah, I think Bartram, that's what I would say. I think I just would want more from him. I look at Pinnock on the other side, or Wagstaff, and I'm just sitting there thinking you're getting more out of them in terms of creating proper goal-scoring opportunities.
So, end product is what Neil's talked about when he says mistakes. Because normally when you hear managers talk about mistakes, it's almost always going towards your own goal, isn't it? You talk about mistakes in the build-up to when you concede a goal. So we're actually thinking, despite the fact our defensive record, having started so well at the very early stage of the season, has gone backwards alarmingly quickly, we're thinking more so that it's what we're doing when we've got possession and when we're trying to create chances, and then it brings us back again, I'm afraid, to Kwesi Appiah, who did score on Saturday.
He did, and it's a great header. You know, Kwesi scoring that type of goal doesn't surprise you in terms of, he's, we've said on this before, he's got quality. We know he has got quality, and it was a great header. But let's not camouflage the fact that meant he had a great game. We did man the match, didn't we, after the game on Saturday for the Facebook Live?
We tried to do
we struggled. We struggled, even, and we scored 2 great goals. 2 great goals. You could argue Perrington scored, great cross, great bit of trickery and the ball in.
Michael Hughes against Arsenal type trickery. That's what that reminded me of.
But that's not enough to give a man the match. And I personally gave it to Deji just for the fact that Deji was the only one I really felt led by example and tried to push the team on as a captain should do. But you could give it to nobody. But Kwesi, I just think he did a few nice layoffs, but if he's going to be our top striker and Neal Ardley brought him in as a championship striker, he's not doing it. And I don't think Neal Ardley would ever call him out, and no, he actually wouldn't do, and I wouldn't expect him to. But I feel that there's a little bit of a message towards, Kwesi, definitely.
So when he says mistakes, that implies that whatever Kwesi is doing is not what he's being asked to do then, surely.
Yeah, so there's some interesting, and that's what I'm thinking. So it's basically, when you look at Neal's interview after the game, he talks about shape. So I think, when there was one bit where I think he sort of, you work hard all week, so on shape, and you don't, I'm just trying to paraphrase as I say that, but he's very much, what he's like, he's very much, here we are. So, early season, you're trying to embed something. Today, there was not enough to win the game. To win football matches, you play with us, you play from your shape, you work off your shape, you create chances. And I said to you a little while, I think I said to you after the Burton game, that I felt Kwesi doesn't do enough. So he doesn't harass the ball, he doesn't keep the ball, he tries to do little flicks. And you can lose your shape because if you don't keep the ball and you're attacking third, then of course you're doing more defending and you're out of position. So I wasn't surprised when I heard that, because now Neal's looking for, he hasn't got the midweek games. I know we've got the friendly coming up on Tuesday. Obviously, we're recording before that game because we're not going. But yeah, he works on that shape. And, and I know you were going back about goals conceded. There is no surprise that we have conceded 3 goals on 4 occasions already this season. Because you can't keep, he also mentions about fragile mentality. We have a young team, but the fragile mentality means that we go to pieces. There's enough games where we've done that.
So when he mentions the shape, does he mean then, so it's players in attacking positions. You're not really worried too much about their shape, are you? You want them to be a bit more freedom if you want to create chances and what have you. So is he talking about when we lose possession, are they not getting back into where they need to be in the right positions? Is that perhaps, as an example, and again we'll talk about this in more depth maybe later on, but the 3rd goal we conceded on Saturday, is that an example of it where you get caught on the counter? Or even the 2nd goal where you get caught on the counter, is that what he's talking about?
It's breakdowns, isn't it? So, I think Neal Ardley likes to play with a very structured defence and a shape so that you can't be overloading and stuff like that. But then when we attack, he wants his fullbacks to push on and really press, especially at home. And we did that in the second half, and I think that was when he gave him a good old kick up the proverbials. And you saw both our fullbacks start higher, in that case move Scunthorpe back, and we then started, getting territory in the game and stuff like that. But I think, if you lose the ball in silly areas, so where he was talking about, create chances and keep your shape. If you're putting square balls or you're doing individual things, then eventually your shape is drawn because actually you're then being caught in possession, and the counter goal for the 2nd was a prime example of that. So I think we know players previously, Dean Parrott, let's just chuck a name at it. Dean Parrott wasn't kept on purely because we all knew that he wasn't great without the ball, and Neal Ardley wants a team structured. So you know what, you can attack, you can flare, but you've got to work your socks off when you haven't got the ball. Harry Forrester, another one. Not a surprise we didn't keep him because again he wanted to do all the attacking side of it, but not work for the team in the other way. So that's why I think Bartram and Kwesi Appiah in that attacking setup are being not held responsible for the goals, but you defend from your front, and I don't think we do that as well.
Is there not an argument there which you could suggest that the players that Neal is asking to do these things are therefore not the right players for the style of play he wants to play?
Yeah.
Is that fair? In Kwesi's case,
Possibly.
It certainly seems to be at the minute, if I'm being honest.
Possibly, but we brought Kwesi in because he had undoubted ability. He went to Palace because he scored all the goals at Margate. Trained professionally, went out on trained professionally, trained with a Premiership team. You can't help but increase your quality if you're playing, train with that all the time. But League One, you've got to work. And this is not a Kwesi. I don't think Kwesi's alone on that, but you've got to work off the ball. And I don't think Kwesi does enough of that, and I don't think he retains possession enough. So there's your problems. And I think he was talking about Kwesi. Last season, one of the biggest, our biggest goal threat last year was Lyle Taylor. But how much work did he do off the ball? You see him dropping at right back sometimes, quite happily. I don't see that from some of the forwards or the attacking players we've got this year.
Well, Lyle Taylor probably would have scored a lot more goals for us if he wasn't doing all that sort of work. And you even saw on Saturday when, sadly, what a great shame this was that Watford lost. But you saw Lukaku back in that right-back position. It's just when you said right-back position, I thought, yeah, you saw him doing that, working his backside off to get back, win a tackle, do his job for the team. And we could even talk about Wayne Rooney and that goal over in America recently, can't we? That incredible goal. But
yes.
That's getting me sidetracked. The third player you mentioned when we talked about Neal Ardley in his post-match interview, when he said same players, same mistakes, Tom King, who I think it's a hard one for me because I think up until now, people really haven't been looking at him. People have seemed quite happy. I've been quite happy. Doesn't really seem to be making mistakes or anything like that. It didn't seem to be, but you're suggesting perhaps he has been, and we're not seeing them. We're not seeing them in the way a manager would, maybe.
No, I mentioned it I think I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago that I didn't say he was making mistakes. All I said was I don't see him doing anything spectacular that keeps us in games. And people could argue that actually, do you know what, the goals that have gone against him, he hasn't been able to do nothing. But the reason you bring a lone goalkeeper in, especially from a championship club, is it's better than what you've got. Last year, George Long was miles better than, I think he was probably one of the best goalkeepers in the league last year, arguably you could argue he's in the top 5 keepers in League One last year, easily. And the difference between him and Joe McDonnell was vast. This year, in my opinion, the lone keeper we've got in terms of Tom King I think Tom King's a good goalkeeper. I don't think he's that much better than Joe McDonnell, and that's where I start to think why we brought a lone goalkeeper in, because he's not doing anything spectacular. I would say that there are some things in this game that I think Joe McDonnell's better at, and it's not highlighting the fact that he did make a mistake. There's no doubt about that. We all know what Morris does. You see it every week for the last 2 or 3 seasons that he will whip that ball in. And he's got done. And Neal Ardley's face, he said that, hasn't he? Neal Ardley's called it out and gone. And everything we've seen, he's gone that. The second goal, I was critical of him on the day, but actually more now thinking actually he left himself in no man's land for the second. There's only one save he did on Saturday that you went, wow, and that was from the chip at 3-2 when he made a spectacular save.
It's funny you should say that, actually, because my immediate reaction when he made that save was great save. Very, very happy, excellent. But actually, immediately after he'd done it, I actually thought if he hadn't have made that save, I would have been surprised. It's similar to, sorry to talk about Watford again, but the David De Gea save late in the game on Saturday, which everyone's been raving about, it seems to be a pretty standard save, if I'm being honest with you. I'd be disappointed if he'd let that go in.
You're right. The way the ball went, it was always going to go for the chip, and it would have to have been a quality finish for him to, and he could have, but he didn't really get enough lift on it. But it's not, I think Tom King's got a great kick. He's vocal. all those sort of things that good size on him, all the things you want from a keeper. I think Joe McDonnell, whenever he's come in, has never let us down. Each year on year, Ashley Bays is doing a great job with him. And I feel now, actually, and that's the reason why I said to you the other week, it was not the fact that he was poor. I just felt, what's the difference in what we've got on the bench? When you bring a lone player in, he should be better than what you've got. Otherwise, why'd you bother? And that's just my thinking. So it's not really anything against Tom King. He made a mistake on Saturday. That happens. I just don't think he's actually better than what we've got in Joe McDonnell, who's waited so patiently. I now think he's worthy now of stepping up and getting a run in the team.
I'd be looking to leave if I was Joe McDonnell. I don't know if that's permanently, but I'd certainly be saying, look, just send me out on loan anywhere, please, because I'd just be so frustrated. I think it's always difficult to be that reserve goalkeeper, and if someone's got to do it, of course they do in this day and age. I mean, it's not like the old days when you'd have 2 subs or whatever, but it just must be. His development is going to. I know we talked about this the other week, but surely it's just going to slow his development. Surely by not playing regularly.
Possibly, but do you know what? Ashley Bays has got a good track record now of producing good goalkeepers. Yeah, and he come in against Charlton in the friendly competition and saved 2 penalties. I'm not saying Tom King wouldn't have saved them, but if you remember, we went to Buckinghamshire last year, didn't we? He played. Do you know what? I think a lot of people come out of that and went, "Wow, where's he been hiding?" He was competent on everything. His catching, his handling ability, his kicking. To come into a game of, okay, it wasn't a sellout, and it's not exactly the most intimidating place to go out there, is it? But the magnitude of that game, and you would never have guessed it. And I think that showed a lot of how he's developed. But hey, look, I've seen Joe McDonnell for ages. I've seen him in the under-21s when he first come in. He has got bigger, stronger, better every year. I think we should chuck him in.
Bigger, stronger, better. I thought you were reciting the slogan from WrestleMania 3 for a minute, just slightly edited. But, well, Neal Ardley then, that's your picks for who he thinks we're thinking, which players are making the same mistakes. Certainly King. I think, you have to look at. I am looking at him after Saturday just because a couple of areas, I think. I still think, second goal as well. There's a question mark there. But the interview actually afterwards, there was a lot he got through. A lot of things he said. Clearly very, very unhappy. Fiddling, if you noticed, with his collar a lot, which is a sign of a little bit of stress. A little bit of
you can tell he's also leaning forward as well, and his hands very carefully together, not to you could tell the whole body language.
Yeah, there was a lot of. He wouldn't have. I don't think he'd have slept well. Let's say that on Saturday evening at all. But what else was in the content of his interview that interested you?
I think there was a couple of things that I felt he left. So I get, and it's actually interesting. Actually, we talk about it. On Saturday the under-18s had a player-led game, which I was chatting to one of the academy people that I know. So basically, what it means is that they had no manager, and basically they worked everything out for themselves. So tactically, they solved problems themselves, and they do that. Apparently, they do that quite a lot. And I've been to a few under-18 games where Mark Robinson at half time has got the old whiteboards out with the tactics on, and basically gone, this is what's happening. What are you going to do to resolve? What are you going to do to solve it? I remember Toby Sibic being involved in that, and I was really impressed on how they actually give ideas about how they could stop being overloaded and stuff like that. But Neal Ardley sort of alludes it to himself. So what he basically says is that, let me just find it quickly. You are trying to find it now.
You are drastically searching through your notes.
This is it. So I'm angry. I'm angry, disappointed. You have to see, I've told them, so they're talking about things after the event. I've told them, no, you have to solve the problems before they happen. And he also said, there was also another quote, which I will find as we're talking, but basically said where you have to work things, they have to work things out for themselves, which got me. Yeah, so there we go. So with the second goal, the last thing I said to the defenders was to solve their counter-attacking. We want to push forward and get at them. So the counter-attacking was a problem that needed solving. My only argument with that is, should that not be a manager doing that? So there's sometimes I'm really disappointed, but that quote there made me think we have a very young team. So is he saying then that the senior pros in that team should have been more vocal here? Deji, Trotter, Tom Sawers. That was got me thinking a little bit of like, is that taking away a little bit of the ownership? It's not always the players' fault only.
But if I'm reading that right, that's just part of their development, isn't it? I mean, that's what I'm thinking from a teacher perspective.
You're right. If they're kids, but he's a manager, isn't he, on the field? So yeah, I get once you send them over that white line, then they have to think for themselves. But it was just maybe I'm reading too much into it, but just it was a little bit like, well, do you know what? They didn't really do it. I had no involvement with that. You can still be involved from the touchline, surely.
Yeah, so think of that one. It is. You're right. I'm not sure it's passing the buck necessarily, though. I think people might hear that and think the suggestion is that Neal's sort of washing his hands of it.
Well, the first thing he starts with is the staff worked really hard to prepare the boys for the game. We gave the boys everything they needed in as far as they have Scunthorpe scored 5 goals in the last 4 games from set pieces. So it's again that sort of thing going, I prepared them, I did everything I should have done, and they didn't. It does very much seem like, Neal's done that before, hasn't he? He has hung the players out to dry before and gone, well, look, they're the ones who did it. Which, don't get me wrong, I don't mind that so much. But we're only in September. And if we're doing that already, that just concerns me a little bit.
What's he the thing is, I know what you said there, and he's talked about, for instance, the free kick he mentioned, and they had all the information, they knew what Morris could do and all that, and he still scored from it and things like that, set pieces. That to me is a tactical thing that the players haven't listened to. So the thing is, if they've not listened to, hey, look, from the perspective of a teacher, right? If your class doesn't do what you've asked them or told them to do, then I'm sorry, the responsibility is on the teacher. It really, for the majority, this is what like you maybe get one child, whatever, that's always going to, for whatever reason. But if the whole lot, or if there's a number of people that happens time after time, then the problem moves with you. So is he then for saying that their concentration is the issue, or is he actually just holding his hands up and saying, look, the players aren't listening to me?
Yeah, well, hey, look, do you know what? And, we're picking apart every word he said here. We're not doing that to make Neal Ardley look bad. We're just, because he's come out in a very public way. Yeah, he's come out in a very public way, and sometimes give us more questions and answers. Which I get that when you've just been beat at home and you've seen, we've thrown a game away, haven't we? But I think he said openly that he got rid of a lot of older players and wanted to bring the average age down, which he has. But then you wonder, because one of his quotes is, that we're 2 down. That's fragility. Is that right? Fragility in your mentality.
What is going on, Stu? Fragility.
Fragility. I don't know how you say that word. Anyway, they're fragile. So that's something fragile in your mentality. That's anxiety that creeps into your group. You start playing like 11 individuals, which I understand. But then he goes, we've worked hard on group leadership, and when you put a young team together, you have to get them to have a group leadership. So we have a young team. So, maybe what we're seeing, the fact that we've conceded 3 goals on 4 occasions already this season, is the fact that we are fragile. We're a young team that when everything's going right for us, we play very well. We've seen that at places like Barnsley and Fleetwood, to name a couple. But we've also seen the Burtons, and we've also... So are we going to have a season of this? And, if you remember when I was talking on the podcast previously, I said how important it is to get a win, because confidence goes without winning. And that was always the one thing that worried me about a young team. And I think we're just starting to see that now. We go into a very difficult game against Accrington on Saturday, who are not... They're going to be looking forward to seeing us up there, because they know, there's some unfinished business, isn't there, from that game?
Yeah.
At the end of the season.
Yeah, of course. They're going to want their revenge for it. But
exactly.
The young teams, they're going to be inconsistent then. So
I think they will.
Yeah, so we just got to hold our hands up and say, look, we're going to have days like this. It's probably going to happen quite regularly. And the flip side is you're going to have every other week or few games, you're going to get a win away at... I mean, that's the thing. We won away at Gillingham the previous week. And actually, I know we're going quite deep into this and Neal Ardley and what have you. Surely that win at Gillingham speaks more about where we are as a team than the defeat to Scunthorpe does. because it's the
Gillingham
wins away at
yeah.
rivals in the bottom. I still maintain we're just not very good. I don't mean that in a bad way, but our players are good enough to keep us in this league, but all this fanciful talk of top half, they're just not that talented. So we are in a bottom 8 to 10 positions in the league, I think. So if we win our way at, I don't know how that came out, that pronounced all wrong. We win away at Gillingham, then that's the sort of wins that we need, and those are the results we need. So Scunthorpe's at home. I mean, you don't write games off. Of course you don't. You don't write performances off, but you also don't. You don't hang your season on those sorts of games.
It's very interesting what you said in that bit, actually, because, like, you're right. You win your 6-pointers. So, if we're going back to the days of when Edgar Olsen joined us, he didn't understand the importance of winning your games against your Coventries and your Southamptons, because that is your 6-pointers. It didn't even matter what you did against Man U, because that wasn't going to define your season. So you're right. Win the 6-pointers at this early stage of the season, you could argue, is important. What I would say is that Gillingham win now, we knew Gillingham were a bad team, didn't we? Or they weren't very good. But that's becoming even more apparent. They just lost, I think they lost 3-0 away to Rochdale. Yeah. They look to me like they're going to be down the bottom with Plymouth until Christmas, then Plymouth will wake up and come out of it like I did last year. But I just, you've been saying it for a couple of weeks, actually, more than a couple of weeks, that you didn't think this team was any better than what we probably had before. I don't want to say you're right, because I still believe there's better quality in this squad. What frustrates me the most at the moment is we've got people like Anthony Wordsworth not getting a position, not getting a game. We had Anthony Hart. Maybe it's the name Anthony that's a problem. We had Anthony Hartigan that didn't even get onto the bench on Saturday. Now, he could have been injured. I don't know if anyone's come out to say that, but he was there on Saturday doing a warm-up before everyone else come out. I just worry if we're not as good, and you are right what you're saying, if we're not as good as what we think we are, does a young team with a fragile mentality, does that stay up? Because we had an experienced team that got out of trouble last year. So, do you go with me? I'm just thinking.
I know exactly what you mean. I think, but the thing is, the difference for me between the two teams is, and yes, I don't think the personnel are as talented as the squad we had last year. And I think if you look at the spine of the team last year, I think George Long, Darius Charles, Dean Parrott and Lyle Taylor, as your spine of a team, are far stronger than we've got at the moment. But I think what Neal's done this season so far, and we haven't seen it in the first half on Saturday, we haven't seen it necessarily at Burton away or a couple of other occasions, he's got them playing more to their individual strengths. And that might serve us better in the long run.
Do you worry, though, we can't find a place for a player like Anthony Wordsworth?
It's interesting you talk about Wordsworth and Hartigan and their first names. I'm not saying anything here, but you know that Neal Ardley, when he was at school, he once directed a Shakespeare performance called And Cleopatra. But no, it does worry me that, Wordsworth, but it also worries me that when Wordsworth and Wagstaff have come in, apart from the Wagstaff cross away at Portsmouth in the League Cup, I'm not seeing enough for them going forward.
Well, we got Hartigan come in against West Ham, and hey, look, when you're down to 10 men, you're on a hide into nothing, so you can look good in a team that's down to 10 men because everyone go, you did well against them, you didn't get battered. West Ham had lots of chances that game, but I also have a lot of people that have watched us for the first time raving about how the hell have you got an 18-year-old who can do that. But that's the only appearance he's had this season from starting. Can we just point
out as well, 100% pass completion rate from Anthony Hartigan against West Ham.
Yeah, and it's just I look at it now, and I'm now starting to get a little bit now edgy. I must admit, I'm getting to a stage now thinking we are letting goals in on a regular basis. I don't believe we have the attacking. I said to you again on Saturday watching a game, I really can't see where our goals are coming from because I don't see any pattern of play. And Neal Ardley's come out and said that about shape and creating chances. And I just look at some of the fixtures we've got. You can very quickly get yourself involved in a relegation battle. And I think Neal Ardley coming out and doing what he said on Saturday just gives me that little bit of the manager's feeling it as well, and feels he's got to come out and say something and He has. So obviously we recorded this before the friendly game against Swansea under 23. So hey, look, we don't know what the team is. We will probably know it. Actually,
I could probably find out for you now.
As we are recording, we are recording before the games. We might get some breaking news as we're on here.
Breaking news by the time anyone listens to it is 48 hours old.
Well, we know the result now.
Well, funnily enough, this is going to interest you then, Stu, as the team has been announced. So do you want to go through this and just get your reaction to this?
I'm looking through this at the moment, yeah.
So, I mean, the key point for me is the fact that Hartigan is in. Joe Pigott is playing. He's starting. Is this... Quezzy, by the way, no Quezzy in the squad at all. Bartram's on the bench. King's on the bench. Deji on the bench. Alfie Egan on the bench. Wasn't he on loan?
So Alfie Egan was on loan to...
Wasn't he at Haverton Waterlooville or something like that?
No, it wasn't. I've actually forgotten where we were on loan because it's been such a low-key loan. Yeah, it's such a low-key loan. The club have not actually given any information about, apart from announcing where he went, been very little updates on. So I don't know actually. It feels a very low-key. Yeah, it feels a very low-key loan. So what we've got, Andy Bartram on the bench. So you've got places in there. So Pinnock, Tommy Wood, who's the under 23 forward, who again, I believe come from Burnley, if I remember properly. Yeah. But Toby Sibbett, Garrett's getting game in there. Will Nightingale needed the game. Robert Donald. Tom Saw's captain. Yeah, obviously no James Hansen, but then would you risk him? Would you risk him for tonight's game? But
would you risk Joe Pigott?
Well, so Neal Ardley's basically saying that he's saying his pre-match to the Swansea game that there's players in there who can stake a claim. So if you're looking at players who can stake a claim, Will Nightingale, Hartigan, Pinnock. Would you argue Pinnock? I think he's had a good start to the season. Tommy Wood is that a chance for him, or is that just literally going? We need to have more forwards. Are we worried about James Hansen's injury? And I'm not trying to scaremonger, but is that James Hansen injury bigger than what we thought? And is Tommy Wood now? Because we do need 4 forwards. So that's the only reason I think he may be in. But Joe Pigott is a surprise.
No Jervis.
Wow. Yeah. What does that tell you?
This is what I'm saying. I don't know how much we do actually read into that.
I've forgotten his ear because we haven't really used him.
Well, it's amazing that Jervis came on in the second half. I actually think on the second half, to get back to that game with Scunthorpe, I think we had that momentum, didn't we, right after half-time, where we've simultaneously got ourselves back into the game but also lost the game by letting in a sloppy third goal. I think we lost momentum, actually, when the wide players were changed. Pinnock, I thought, in fact, maybe not so much Pinnock, he puts quality in the box, doesn't he?
He does.
Jervis got people off their seats because he was someone that was actually running with pace, but he didn't influence the game.
No, I thought Lyle would have turned. To be honest with you, when Jake Jervis come on, because he took up Lyle Taylor's familiar position wide right of a forward 3. I didn't get it, if I'm being honest with you, because I felt a lot of times he got in the way of Watson going forward. We pushed our fullbacks really high. And we did that quite a lot. Perrington was getting a lot of joy down left-hand side, which meant Bartram could come in a little bit. But Jervis literally was hugging the touchline, and I felt too far away from Quezzy and Joe Pigott. I'd have played them a lot more central, or played Quezzy in behind and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know with Jay Jervis. He looks to have all the ability, but we have to remember Luton let him go for a reason. So, not to play tonight. Let's not try and read too much into everything. He could be injured.
He might have played in this competition before, possibly.
No, he played in the League Cup, didn't he, for Luton? Did he get cup tied this competition? Does it really care? It's only a friendly, isn't it?
Who knows with this fucking thing?
What I didn't realise is that Stevenage have thrashed the Swansea under 23s 5-0 in their previous game. So, yeah, obviously Swansea have done well, aren't they? Getting relegated from the Premiership, and obviously their kids are not very good.
Oh, you know what? You're going to get me started. You're going to get me started. Hey, look, despite there is actually, I don't think this is very unlikely, but there is a possibility that next season it could be us in the Championship and Swansea in League One. That's the ludicrousness of this whole thing. But anyway, enough about this competition. Yeah, I'm just, like I say, trying to make sense of a lot of things because it's very. Are we expending a lot of energy trying to make sense of things that really it's still perhaps too early in the season to make sense of? Or is there a wider issue here? I'm thinking one home win from our last 10 games. No home wins so far this season. No first half. So 8 out of 10 games this season, no first half goal.
I must admit, when you look at stats, we've always said, we said so many times, you can dress stats up how you want them to sound, and you can make them sound worse than what they are. I wouldn't really include last season's game because it's a new team, isn't it? So I think to be fair to Neal Ardley and the team, I wouldn't include last year's results. But, and I've said it a number of times, I'm concerned about the goals we are conceding and the types of goals we're conceding. That is a concern for me. I can live with... It's really weird, isn't it? Sometimes you've got to be careful what you wish for, isn't it? Because last year I was absolutely bored watching games at Kingsmeadow because of our attacking flair. Yet, yes, Saturday's game was end-to-end, but we still lost. So you can't argue that you're not seeing goals at home this time.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
in the wrong. Do you get what I mean? So like I say, you've got to be careful what you wish for. The games are definitely more entertaining. But equally, do I want to go down and be involved in a relegation battle? I know we're Wimbledon and we're not in the top. We're not in the top end of the budget. But we have said that we have invested more money. We're taking money out of the potential profits out of Plough Lane, and we spent a good 100k on transfer fees. So, yeah, there are some concerns that I have. Whether we're reading too much into it, maybe. But we are very vulnerable, and yeah, we haven't won at home yet in the league, so that's a concern.
More goals, absolutely. Games have, I would agree with you, been more entertaining to watch. It doesn't explain the atmosphere at Kingsmeadow. We were going to touch on the attendance, weren't we? Which struck people as being quite low on Saturday. There is a mitigating factor with Scunthorpe being so few, but for me, the atmosphere was more of a question mark because there just wasn't any. I think we're definitely in the midst of Kingsmeadow fatigue. I think we're all sick of it. I've been saying that for a number of years now. I just don't think people get. I don't think people get excited about coming to Kingsmeadow, despite the fact that football's improved this season. Do you get like last season? I certainly had the issue of I'd wake up on a Saturday morning and I'd genuinely go, "Oh, do I have to go to football today?" Which is daft because no, I don't. Of course, I don't. But I had that feeling. I was like, I can't really be asked. I don't have that this season. I'm quite happily back to the usual sort of, you don't even question it. It's just like, oh, Saturday, right. That's the routine when we're at home and what have you. But I don't get necessarily excited. I certainly wasn't excited getting to Kingsmeadow. You might see when I got there, actually, I was in a pretty chilled, sort of laid-back kind of whatever sort of mood. But that seems to be reflected in the atmosphere. Even to the point at 3-2, when we got back to 3-2, I never really thought the crowd... It wasn't the atmosphere or the lift from the crowd that I would have expected when you're normally in that situation, trying to claw back and get an equaliser or even potentially a winner.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that. Maybe we have. Maybe Kingsmeadow. We all know we're leaving, don't we? It's like maybe when you buy a new house and like people go, well, do you want to do some decorating? You're like, not really. I'm moving out soon. So what's the point? I'm just trying to put a little bit of a different slant on it. You don't really pay much attention to it, do you? Because you're moving. So why would you, you're not really too bothered about living there. You're happy enough, but you can't wait to move into your new stadium. Your new house that's going to be bigger, better, more luxurious, modern. Maybe that's what it is. Kingsmeadows, for a number of years, has been very difficult to get excited about. Although saying that on Saturday, and I did say this to Joe Palmer when I saw him on Saturday, I was really excited about the Turnstile Bar. I don't drink anymore, but I just found the fact that we had been creative on something that was, it was just nothing was being used by it. And we'd done a Turnstile Bar and I thought worked really well and was well received by people. That excited me. But if that's all that's exciting me on a Saturday, then it is a bit concerning. Yeah, the attendance wasn't great. The atmosphere wasn't great. Yeah, two early goals really by Scunthorpe didn't really do much to help that. Scunthorpe didn't really bring many fans. The fans they did were stuck in the common corner, which doesn't hold any sound. Let's just move. Let's just get home. Can't wait. I can't wait, I must admit. And, Kingsmeadow now, unfortunately, is basically the home for Chelsea ladies, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, bluntly, yes.
It's all over the ground, isn't it? You can't get away from seeing Chelsea ladies.
It's funny you should mention. It's the first time I remember being sat. So we're sat in the main stand on Saturday, and it's the first time of course we've seen the signs, and as you come in, there's a big sign saying Chelsea ladies, but it was seeing the notices that sort of talk about not encroaching on the pitch or using abusive language or whatever, and you can get thrown out. And it's our badge alongside the Chelsea badge. Oh my God. That was
Hey,
do you know what? I don't know where Chelsea fit on my list of hatred at the minute, because we have Milton Keynes at the very, very top, and no one's ever going to touch them. Chelsea have got to be there in second place, I think, even above Watford.
It's difficult now, isn't it? Because, I know you're not that old, but we are the older generation.
24.
I know, exactly. So, to a younger fan under the age of, say, 20, it's not far away from your age group, they might go with the Chelsea Premiership Club. It's great they're helping out. To you and I that used to hate Chelsea, then we don't like being associated with them. We don't actually like them helping us out. But if we look in the cold light of day, Chelsea have given us a substantial amount of money and let us stay in the stadium until ours is built. So whether I say I like them for that, I suppose you have to accept that you are playing in their stadium now and they've got the right to do what they want with it. So maybe that is it. Maybe you just feel like you're going to a ground that's not yours anymore. Yes, it's been home for ours for good 15, 16 years, but Chelsea basically are doing it up. So it's like we're giving notice we're going to move, and they are basically doing what they want with it, and we are playing in Chelsea's shadow. That probably don't help.
I hate Chelsea. I hate Chelsea so much. You have no idea.
But you can't argue the fact that they have and all right, someone else could have bought it, but I think they've given us reportedly a very healthy profit on. We have done quite a lot of work to it, but yeah.
It must be said there are some good people I know at Chelsea that work in the academy, for example. I know boys I used to teach that were members of the Chelsea academy and are still there, actually. Jonathan Panzo, actually, might have seen for the England youth teams winning competitions last year and others. But that's just they're good people in the middle of the oh my God, I can't.
What I would say is I talk to a lot of the ground staff when I get there on a match day. I know we are benefiting a lot from the experience on the Chelsea. It's obviously Chelsea pay for the pitch and stuff like that. So I know I was talking to a few guys that I know, and we are benefiting a lot from their experience and knowledge on the pitch. So we are hoping that when we move into Plough Lane, that we can benefit from sharing the experiences that they do, and our pitch will be of a similar quality. So hey, look, we're never going to like Chelsea, but yeah, well, I think we're benefiting it. But we are playing we are playing in Chelsea's Ladies Stadium. Maybe it's got to be something that's not making us feel it. The away fans are not intimidating anymore. The away fans don't turn up anymore because they know Kingsmeadow is not great if you're an away fan. The players are definitely not intimidated by going to Kingsmeadow anymore. So it's just like we're seeing out of notice now, aren't we? And it felt really deflating on Saturday.
I can't let this go. Like Ken Bates, Frank LeBeouf, like Drogba, John Terry. These are just horrible, horrible men. But anyway, I'm going to let it go. I haven't even touched on the fact. Sorry, I should get this one out of the way. By the way, talking about Scunthorpe, whatever. I really don't care about Scunthorpe. If you were to list all 91 proper, oh God, that includes Chelsea and Watford. All right, legitimate then football league clubs. If I was to list them in the order of how much I care about their results, Scunthorpe would be way down that list, like one of the lowest. I really don't care. I have no opinion. That was, however, until they turned up at Kingsmeadow in their away kit for no reason. If Coventry can get away with it, Scunthorpe could have got away with theirs without any problems. So therefore, Scunthorpe United, you have just made the list. Right? But all that said, what was going to touch on stadium? Yes, because I wanted to just touch on this before we finish up and round off into other things. We had Don's Trust meeting last week, didn't we? SGM, in which Eric provided a quite lengthy stadium update because we're talking about Kingsmeadow and moving to Plough Lane. We're all very excited by it. Slight delays, nothing major. Interesting that we've changed contractors. But why is Eric telling this at a Don's Trust meeting? I'm so frustrated. I'm really frustrated. I haven't put this on Webjam yet. I've got a couple of points. I will be putting them on the Don's Trust Webjam. over the next couple of days. I'm so frustrated, and it's nothing personal against anyone whatsoever, but I'd have loved to have heard Eric's update, which was it was great to hear, by the way. I'm not saying we shouldn't hear it. We should be hearing it. Absolutely. And it was nicely put together, and he explained everything very, very well. It was very well put together. Not at a Don's Trust SDM, though. That's not the place for it, surely. That's not a Don's Trust issue, the update on the stadium, is it? That's a football club board doing football club work that should be open to all fans, surely.
Yeah, I think obviously Eric looks at the fact that it's a meeting that's already organised and we have fans attending it, so it's an opportunity to do that. We know the Don's Trust board meetings are not attended well.
We should just clarify: the Don's Trust meetings are Don's Trust board meetings.
Sorry, the Don's Trust meetings. Sorry, yes, the Don's Trust meetings. They're not well attended for many years, and I don't think we've ever got to the bottom of why. I think it's difficult because it's on a Thursday. It's at the ground. You know, I've asked before, could we not do it on a match day? Or I think we could get smarter with social media by streaming it and things like that. And very much Eric's update is a shame in a way because it's only been seen by 100 people that attended on Thursday. So if I'm rounding it up to nearest 100. So if we, you know, it's a good message, but when we're looking at, you know, from what I understand, I wasn't there on Thursday, unfortunately, but from what I understand, you know, we're looking at crowdfunding, which is about obviously fans contributing towards it, and I think there's some very ambitious targets, but I think we could get well near to, but it's not been seen, and I think what we could do, and a suggestion if anyone from the club does listen or anyone like that, is those things could very much easily be recorded by Eric. Could record a 20-minute segment, half an hour segment where Eric literally just talks into a camera. You can even get a PowerPoint presentation involved if you get someone involved who can obviously who's got those skills, and could go out on YouTube channel. It could, and then every fan can see it, because I think it is. You know, I think we're all excited about moving into a new stadium. So those really should be accessible to the many, and not just for the ones who can turn up on a Thursday to a Don's Trust meeting, which we know is not well attended anyway. That's my frustration.
With your Corbyn hat on there, for the many, not the few. But hey, look, if the intention there is to let Don's Trust members that have paid their money for membership to have their same role in the club, to reward them by getting this sort of information first, I absolutely get that. But what you tend to find is that information very quickly gets passed on outside of the people in the room. That's the nature of social media and guest books and stuff like that. I think you could have presented, or Eric could have, like exactly as you say, could have gone up on WebJam where members can log in and watch it for maybe a week or so before it then gets launched more widely on YouTube or the official website or something. But crucially for me, it was the fact that then that took time away from the crux of the meeting, in which the intention was there to engage with members. And unfortunately, you're sort of then in a situation where you're hamstrung by two things, one of which is time, because you've got less of it. People are very willing to go down to these meetings, but you don't want them going on. I mean, it's about 2 hours in total. That's about the limit for it.
Yeah, you don't want to leave Kings Meadow too much after 10 o'clock. Because let's be honest with you, it's not when you walk out of Kings Meadow on a non-match day, it's not the most prettiest of places, is it?
Is this where we? We perhaps shouldn't go into the crime wave capital or whatever it is, the crime capital of Surrey that is Norbiton. But you're right. It's not the easiest place to get to whatsoever, and you're also hamstrung by the fact that the sample of fans you are talking with in these Don's Trust meetings is not the most representative sample of our fan base in terms of age, race, and gender.
And it's why. Yeah, you're right, and it's why I've said for so long. There might be a reason, but I would love us just to try to get. I know sometimes in the Don's Trust meeting there are stuff that maybe are sensitive, can only be discussed at a Don's Trust meeting, and we don't necessarily maybe want it on the wider social media for everyone to see. But for meetings that I've been to before, I can't really remember that. And there's also ways of doing it where you literally don't broadcast that. But with the days, we do Facebook Live, don't we? And we've got all the, not saying we do it, but we'd happily help. But we've got all the equipment where you could easily have it out on a social media. You could have questions coming in, live questions. I would, if you tried it once, I would be more than confident that you would get a real good engagement from Don's Trust members who probably have never been to a Don's Trust meeting.
And when you see the amount of membership cards that were waiting to be handed out as people arrived at the meeting, got a lot of members. I think Mark Davis, who was chairing the meeting at one point, discussing the fact that for us to sell more shares in AFCW PLC to help fundraise for the new stadium, we need a turnout we need to vote that through as a membership restricted action, which means we need 50% turnout. And he said something like that was equivalent to about 1,500, I think, from memory. So we're looking at 3,000 members in total. So there's a lot, like you're right. It'd be interesting to know how many of those 3,000 have ever attended a Don's Trust meeting. I mean, there's overseas fans, of course, that will be involved in that, but they've got to be the overwhelming minority, you'd think. But, hey.
Yeah, I just think that, Joe, we're going home. We're really excited about it. Our younger fan base have never seen us at Plough Lane. Let's drum this up a little bit. And Eric's update, I've obviously, you've mentioned to me what's happened and stuff like that, and looks really exciting. But sometimes you can almost forget that we're moving home. It's so quiet. Let's drum it up a little bit. That would have been really good on YouTube. Get it up, show what's happening, because we're going home in about a season and a half now. So that will fly by.
Stu just loves getting it up on YouTube. But anyway, time for some more excitement now. Neal Cocktail Pears, Stu.
Oh, lovely.
Let's have a rest from all this chat. We've been talking for about over 50 minutes now, and I'll listen back to this. I don't really remember what we've actually said. We've touched on so many things. Be fascinated to listen back and see how this conversation flowed.
Touching on so many areas.
So to speak. Right. This week, Neal Cocktail Pears, I have chosen the theme as being Wimbledon players that have scored in playoff games. These are AFC Wimbledon players only, because I don't think we ever had a playoff game as Wimbledon FC.
No, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Why I've done this is because, of course, as you've touched on slightly earlier, Accrington Stanley await us on Saturday, who we famously knocked out of the playoffs a couple of years ago. So, first one then, the player, he scored twice versus AFC Hornchurch in 2008.
That would be Mr. John Mayne.
It was indeed, and this is the racecourse of the Grand National.
John Mayne Tree.
Very good. That's the best you've ever done.
Well, it's the one it's the one I need the answers for.
Explain that, because the way you said that suggested I'd actually already given you the answers.
Well, I don't know much about horse racing, but everyone knows Aintree and up in Liverpool, don't they, for the Grand National? So,
absolutely. Well, there you go. We're off to a good start. So, how about this one?
Yes.
I'm not so confident with this one. Well, actually, let's mix it up then. Let's not go for that. Let's see if we can get to that too. Right. Attacking midfielder who scored the winning goal against Staines in the Ryan Premier League playoff final.
Mark Debola.
Mm-hmm. And this is a Polish Strictly Come Dancing professional dancer.
Oh. I don't know their names. I know what they look like.
I think there's one that most people know the name of, female one that they know the name of that's Polish, and was married to another one of the dancers, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I can't remember what her name is, though. I don't really pay much attention to her name. No, I don't know what her name is.
I was just thinking Mark Debola, so Mark Debola.
Bolognese?
What?
I'm joking. I don't know what her name is.
Oh, clearly.
It's Ola, isn't it? Ola something.
Yeah. Ola something.
Mark Debola.
Mark Debola.
Of course it'd be Ola, because of course Mark Debola.
That's what I was getting at before we went for Bolognese.
I don't know what her surname is.
Okay, it's Mark Debola Jordan.
Oh, is it really?
No, Stu, I'm lying. It's actually Mark Debola Smith. Yes, of course. Yes, that is the answer.
Oh, so that's her married name, isn't it?
What, Ola?
Jordan.
I'm guessing so. It's not a traditionally
Polish name. It's not a Polish
it?
name, is it? You know, exactly. Oh, yeah, I forgot she got married.
Jeez. Ironically, Jordan is a different country entirely. Right. Third one. He scored the winning goal in the home leg versus Accrington Stanley.
Oh, crikey. The one that everyone's forgotten about, Mr. Tom Beer.
Tom Beer. The second part, I don't know if you'll get this. I can imagine certain members of our listenership will get this one. This is the name or the title of an early 90s US TV show in which a teenager moves to a new town in America and is suddenly surrounded by these really strange, mysterious events. Spooky.
Oh.
A word for spooky, maybe.
Scary.
Tom Beer, scary.
Tom Beer. No, I don't know.
No. It's a bit niche, this one, I think. Tom Beery, Indiana. So the TV show was Erie, Indiana.
Never heard of it.
No? Okay. Oh, well.
I don't watch scary things anyway.
You've watched Wimbledon for how many years now?
Yeah, that is like a horror, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
It can be. Final one then. This is for the wrestling fans, the people that listen to the show and love the Graps. First part is a person who scored a hat-trick at home to Fleetwood Town in the 6-1 demolition of them.
Was that K. Mohammed?
It was indeed.
What about him? Where's he now?
Bogner. And then the second half, the name of the famous wrestler who beat Brock Lesnar in 2004 at the Cow Palace in San Francisco to win his first and only WWE Championship. Sadly passed away in 2006. You won't know this one.
To be honest with you, I wasn't really listening to the question
Sure.
because I've just seen it in Milan score an almighty goal against Tottenham. Sorry, that really put me off.
You wouldn't have got it anyway, though, Stuart, to be fair.
No, so yes,
Yeah.
I don't know who it is.
No, of course you don't. It's Kayed Mohamedi Guerrero.
Oh, I
Kayed
think I've heard
Mohammed
that name.
Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
The word legend, as we have discussed off air, is overused on occasion, but not for Eddie Guerrero. Absolute legend.
That's a great hit by Milan. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Who scored it? Don't say Inter Milan.
Number 9. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. When's the last time anyone watched international football? Called it Internationale. I don't know. I don't know who he is. He's number 9. Inter Milan. I didn't realise they still played in Europe. But yeah, great goal.
Okay. Well, the name will come up shortly. But anyway, that's Neal Scott's Repairs for this week. I was going to do my movie review this week, but I can't. Purely for the reason that, as you would have heard, our 90s theme with our music at the start of the show. So we're asking people to tweet in or email us in 9yrs@may14.co.uk or tweet at 9yrs podcast, the name of the song, the name of the artist. And this week, I want to see if you can guess from the song that has played at the start of the show what film I watched this past week that I very much enjoyed. And on that note, I should tell you last week, well done to David Sebastian at David_Sebastian, who was the first person in, and he tweeted us this following last week's show: having a hashtag Throwback Thursday one-man party on the bus this morning, blasting out Crystal Waters' Gypsy Woman, brackets, she's homeless, through the headphones. Thanks at 9YRS Podcast. Well done, Sebastian. Well done, David. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed your party on the bus. Which bus was that? What is your favourite bus route? Tweet us in at 9YRS Podcast. Mine is the 265. That's a lie. I hate that bus. Anyway.
Mine would probably be the 156 when it goes to Plough Lane when we return back to Wimbledon.
That was very, very well done.
Oh, no.
Well done. Accrington Stanley then. On Saturday, away at the Crown Ground, or whatever stupid sponsor name it has got these days.
Wham's.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Oh,
yeah.
And we don't...
But not in terms of the band Wham. Apparently it's a company that's up there, isn't it? Or it's the owner's company, isn't it?
We could go up there, and we could have been, if you hadn't gone on loan to Livingston, be singing "Wake Me Up Before You." Card? No, that doesn't kind of work. No, that doesn't work at all. In fact, do we have?
Yeah.
No, we don't have any. No, that's not going to work. Ignore I said that, everybody.
I wouldn't.
Accrington Stanley haven't lost since the opening day, bizarrely, but they've had 5 draws in those 7 games in the league. They've got Connor Ripley in goal. What a great, smart, astute signing that is.
Yeah, especially when obviously we were talking about our loan signing this summer. Yeah, very good. Wasn't it Bury last year, if I remember? I can't remember now. I think he did go Bury.
Yeah, but it was certainly Oldham the season before last. And Oldham where he got the record.
Yeah, and did very well, didn't he? So, yeah, Accrington started very well, coming into League One. Haven't looked out of place from what I've seen of them. Very tough game. They will be, obviously, same manager and everything like that. He will be firing them up ready to play us on Saturday. Lovely club, Accrington. Gutted that I'm not going, but yeah, I can't be bothered to go. That's really sad, isn't it? You can't bother to go, but yeah, I think it's a tough game. I think it's a really tough game. If we get away with a point from there, I'll be more than happy.
Is that your good prediction? Is that what you're going to go for a point?
Yeah, I'll go for a 2-2 draw.
You're going for a Desmond. I'm actually going to predict bizarrely, still purely because of law of averages, that we are going to win on Saturday. I've gone for a 2-1 win, and it is basically based on the fact that law of averages suggests Accrington have to lose at some point. Perhaps we are going to be a team that picks up more points away from home this season than we do at home. We are running very, very late, so I'm just going to pick a game from other game in League One. If you've got one, I've got one.
It wasn't great, really, when I looked at the fixtures. The only one that I saw was Doncaster Bradford. Purely for the fact it's obviously a northern derby. Doncaster started well, had some good results, and Bradford are not doing too well.
Yeah, I must admit, Doncaster doing surprisingly well under Grant McCann, so fair play to him, because I don't think that was a good appointment on the face of it, but he started well, certainly. Barnsley-Burton for me, because I think Burton are proving me correct. They're picking up steam now, and they're going to be launching an assault on the promotion places.
Yeah, Barnsley lost away to Charlton, didn't they? So I think Walsall lost as well, didn't they? So both lost their unbeaten records on the weekend.
Barnsley lost at Cov, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Walsall lost at home to Doncaster. 4-1. That's a big defeat.
I can't believe Doncaster is scoring goals. I just don't know where it's coming from. But fair play. That's good management, I guess.
Yes.
Right, a couple of things. Report on our website, 9 Wireless Podcast from Mark Hendricks. Article on there, well worth reading. And also, Mark's put together our transfer quiz, which is going to be on Twitter. It has been on Twitter already. We'll put it on Facebook as well. Answers, people might have already seen these by the time we launch this podcast, but we'll go through the answers and award the winners, what have you, next week, just to give people a bit more time to respond to that one. So facebook.com/9wireless podcast for the quiz, 9wirelesspodcast.org for the article, and that's enough plugging Mark Hendricks for 1 week. Right, that's it, basically. Thank you very much for joining us. Updates from Scunthorpe will be on our social media at 9 Wireless Podcast, as I say it again. AFC Wimbledon Business Club this week are going to see a special screening of Titanic with former Blackburn defender Henning Berg. We'll be back next Thursday with a look at the Accrington game, and Mark Hendricks again. He's on Lost Port Radio this Sunday. Thank you very much for joining me this week, Stu.
No problem at all.
Elixir Bliss, bag first, milk last. We will speak to you again next week.
I'm drifting back into those glory days. They'll sing about girls and cars, sneaking into bars, drunk fist fights and battle scars. Lord, how I wish those days were mine. And they'll sing about smoking in the glory days, chasing the ones that got away. Lord, I could spend this whole damn night dreaming about the sweeter times. Lord, you got your high school sweetheart, they're breaking all the rules. They're fogging up their windows and making love without a clue.
Yeah, I want to come back to the mentality actually in a little bit. I want to sort of drill down a little bit into this. So you're talking about, he did talk about working on shape all week, and it's... Sorry, Lorraine's completely thrown me there.
Yeah, I do apologise. My son, bless him, has been up all day, and my wife is keeping him entertained. So yes, you may hear some wonderful noises.
It's totally thrown me. Yeah, give me a second. I'll work it out.